Hello, ENC 1102 students. I am very happy to be presenting to you again. First, I'd like to thank all of you who've been participating in our online learning. Most of you have been doing an excellent job. I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate your patience while we've all been learning how to do these things. I want to review a little bit about some of the things you've done already and where we're going to next in ENC 1102. So what I'm showing you here is something you all submitted to me a long time ago, which was your 4 possible writing ideas for your informational essay with surprising reversal. So most of you already got feedback from me on 4 possible ideas, and these ideas somehow or another originated with the research question that you did your exploratory narrative on. What we see here is with these sentence frames I gave you is that each one of these new writing ideas has what we call a common view and a surprising view. And that becomes a framework for how we're going to write our next essay. So in addition to proposing to me 4 writing ideas, I've been collecting your sources and your double entry notes. And most of you, again, have been doing a really good job on finding good sources. I'm really happy that most of you know how to distinguish between a reliable source and one that's not so much. So most of you have already turned in the double entry notes for source number 5 and source number 6. I've not yet assigned source number 7, but that's coming up. So you all need to keep in mind that the reason that I had your proposed ideas and that the reason I'm having you read sources is that all this information is going to come together in an essay. And you should all know that I've given each one of you a sample of 2 different informative essays that were written by former students. So the first one was written by Elizabeth Rivas, and what I want you to notice about this, again, you all received a copy of this, is that Elizabeth's essay is divided into 2 halves. The first half is where she states what is the common view about beauty, that many people seem to believe true beauty lies beneath the skin. So after Elizabeth states what is the common view, she has to tell me 3 reasons why people believe that. So Elizabeth states her first kind of supporting paragraph. Why do people believe this? Well, one reason is people's perception of beauty has started to change as they learn more about the value of someone's true self. So in this body paragraph, Elizabeth has to provide support for this one reason. She goes on to her second body paragraph for her common view. She has another reason why people believe that physical beauty is not as important as what lies beneath the skin. And here she has a final reason. This one saying one reason why many value one's personality over one's looks is because they believe an ugly personality destroys a pretty face. So she has 3 separate body paragraphs showing us the common view. And then soon after that, there's a little transition paragraph where she switches to what's the surprising view of her essay. And in that surprising view, which you all have already practiced as you've written your writing ideas, I have a common view and a surprising view. It follows the same format. What's one reason why people believe this surprising view? What's another reason people believe this surprising view? And here's her third. The next factor that shows the importance of looks over personality is the belief of love at first sight. So there's 6 body paragraphs, 3 supporting a common view, 3 supporting the surprising view. So now what I want to do is I want to look at the other essay, and this one was written by Marjolaine Leal. But before we look at Marjolaine's essay, I want to go over this graphic organizer that I've sent out to you, and which is going to become one of your next assignments to turn into me. So this graphic organizer basically has you state what's the common view of your problem, what's the surprising view, and what are the 3 supporting reasons for each view. So for the essay we're going to see, we have Marjolaine Leal's essay, which is about the teaching of sex in schools. So her common view is that many parents are against the teaching of sex in schools. Her surprising view is teaching sex ed in schools actually benefits students. So like Marjolaine, you're going to have to show me in the graphic organizer 1, 2, 3. What are 3 reasons why people believe this common view? And then you're going to have to do the same thing for your surprising view. What are 3 reasons why people believe this surprising view? Now, I want kids to pay attention to this as they're looking for their final sources, because when they list a reason why someone believes either the common view or the surprising view, they have to list for me down here any sources that they've read that would support that point of view there. So we're using the abbreviation S1 for source 1, source 3, source 5, source 3, and then down here. So this is the surprising view. I want you to see that source number 3 for Marjolaine, she uses it to surprise one of the surprising view reasons. She uses source 3 again for one of her common view reasons. She uses it again for another common view reason. So some of these sources that you're finding can be used in multiple paragraphs. I tell kids that it's not important right now that every one of your reasons have support from one of your sources, because by now most of you have done something like 6 sources. So if we see a blank somewhere, that gives us some options. So if we have no source supporting this point right here, many kids would be uncomfortable with the explicit photos and diagrams used to teach sex ed. That's one of her reasons here. She doesn't have any source to support it, so she has an option here. Kids are allowed to use personal experiences, examples from their own lives or people they know to support reasoning here. Or they can go looking for their 7th source, their 7th and final source, looking for information to support this point of view. So what I want to do is I want to show you what Marjolaine did. Marjolaine felt like she had enough evidence here with these 4 sources for her common view, and she had enough information down here that she felt like she could effectively use personal experience to back up some of her reasons. So I just want to go look at one of those body paragraphs right here. So in Marjolaine's first body paragraph, we can see that after she states her topic sentence that many parents are afraid of sex ed in schools because it can cause their children to become sexually active at a much earlier age. She brings up evidence from one of her sources here. She brings up evidence from a second source over here, and she cites a third source. So Marjolaine does a really good job of supporting this with textual evidence. But what I want to do is go down into her third body paragraph, where she says, lastly, teaching sex ed to children will expose them to explicit X-rated material, which might make them uncomfortable. And what she does is she recalls when she was in 6th grade, and she uses a personal anecdote to support that. So I want kids to know that when they write their essays, they're allowed to use personal examples, personal anecdotes for support for at least for only one common view paragraph, and you can also use it for one surprising view paragraph. So I show this to you in Marjolaine's essay so that when I get back to our graphic organizer and you're trying to sort out which sources you have to back up your reasons, you might have an empty space like Marjolaine did. And that empty space, again, could be used with personal experience to back it up, or you could go looking for a 7th source. The 7th source will be the last one I ask you for. Okay, I wish you all good luck, and I'll see you in our next instructional video.